Welcome to this Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an absolute classic. We are talking about a high-stakes underdog journey. You know, the kind of story where relentless, stubborn persistence just slams right into raw, unmatched talent. If you love a tale about shattering boundaries and defying literally every odds stacked against you, well, you are absolutely going to love the story of Black Clover and the rise of the anti-magic hero.
So, in a world where magic is life, what is the fate of a boy born with none? I want you to really just sit with that for a second. Imagine living in a society where every single aspect of your daily routine, your social standing, your entire future really, is dictated by a power you just don't have. It instantly establishes these incredibly high stakes, right? It sets up a world that is inherently unfair from the very moment you take your first breath.
Section 1. A world dictated by magic.
Okay, so to really grasp the sheer magnitude of our hero's journey, we first have to understand the fundamental rules of the universe he's stuck in. In the Clover Kingdom, magic isn't just some cool party trick or a rare skill. It's literally like the air people breathe. You can see this instantly in the stark societal divide. On one end, you've got the nobles. For them, massive magical power is essentially a birthright. They wield it effortlessly, which just cements their status right at the top of the social ladder. But then, on the flip side, you have the commoners. They desperately depend on whatever meager magic they possess just to scrape by and survive their day-to-day lives. And if you have no magic at all, well, society completely leaves you behind in the dirt.
So here is the roadmap we'll be tracking today for Asta and Yuno. We start with them as childhood orphans in Hage, move to the grimoire ceremony at age 15, then head into the Magic Knights exam, and finally a literal life-or-death dungeon mission.
Section 2. The anomaly and the prodigy.
Ever since they were babies, Asta and Yuno were total, complete opposites. But they shared this one seemingly impossible dream, becoming the Wizard King, basically the absolute greatest mage in the entire Clover Kingdom. First, you have Yuno. He's calm, intelligent, magically gifted, and just absolutely overflowing with natural mana. Then, you have Asta. Loud, ridiculously energetic, born with zero mana, and relying entirely on grueling everyday physical training. I mean, while everyone laughed at Asta's dream, he just kept doing push-ups, sit-ups, and screaming into the sky about his destiny. He was determined to make up for his complete lack of talent with unshakable persistence.
And that brings us to a massive turning point, the grimoire ceremony. Coming of age in this kingdom means receiving a magical book that grants spells perfectly suited to your specific mana. Yuno's moment was stunning. I mean, he received a rare, sacred four-leaf clover grimoire, basically blessing him as a top-tier prodigy on the spot. But when it was Asta's turn, zero. Absolutely nothing appeared. The entire crowd literally laughed at him. For a boy whose entire dream relied on magic, receiving zero magic was just a crushing, humiliating blow.
But fate wasn't done with Asta. Later that night, a chain-wielding thief actually ambushed Yuno to steal his brand-new rare grimoire. Even with zero magic, Asta just threw himself straight into the fight with bare fists to save his brother. And just as the enemy was about to strike Asta down for good, the impossible happened. This dark, tattered book just burst from thin air. It was a 5-leaf grimoire. From it, Asta pulled this massive, heavy, dark sword that was pulsing with demonic energy. He didn't get magic, he got anti-magic, a force that can completely nullify and just cut right through all magical spells.
After Asta saves him, Yuno hands Asta back his pendant and delivers this incredible line, "You're not worthless, you're my rival." It is such a powerful moment, right? Yuno doesn't pity Asta, he completely validates him. By calling Asta his rival, the kingdom's greatest prodigy acknowledges the boy with zero magic as a legitimate, formidable threat to his own dream.
Section 3. The Magic Knights exam.
So, with their grimoires finally in hand, the boys head straight to the capital for the Magic Knights exam. It's this fierce, cutthroat competition to join the kingdom's royal squats, which obviously begs the question, how can a loud kid swinging a heavy iron sword, who doesn't possess a single drop of magic, possibly compete against the most refined nobles and prodigies in the kingdom? Well, by completely shattering expectations. During the combat test, Asta faces off against Seke, this arrogant, boastful noble who severely underestimates him. Seke puts up this shiny, impenetrable magical defense, and Asta just charges right in. He smashes through it with pure, raw willpower and physical strength, landing a decisive one-hit knockout. It's a huge dopamine hit, and it proves that in a world ruled by magic, immense physical grit can still absolutely break the rules.
Now this exam completely splits their paths. Yuno is instantly scooped up by William Van Jantz to join the Golden Dawn, which is the most prestigious and elegant squad in the entire kingdom. Asta, on the other hand, is literally laughed off by nearly every single captain. That is, until the wild, chain-smoking captain of the Black Bulls finally steps in.
Yami Sukahiro walks right up to Asta, gives him this grin and says, "You've got guts, kid. Join my squad." It is the ultimate validation. Yami doesn't care about royal bloodlines, he doesn't care about mana reserves, he cares about grit, he cares about heart, and with those words, Asta officially becomes a magic knight.
Section 4. Misfits of the Black Bulls.
Asta's first day is, well, it's nothing short of utter chaos. The Black Bull's base isn't some pristine, sparkling castle. No, it's a bizarre, living building that is constantly shifting, breaking apart, and moving around. And the people inside? Wonderfully chaotic. You've got Magna, a hot-headed, fiery biker mage, Luck, a fighter who is literally obsessed with battling to the death, Charmy, a dwarf whose life revolves entirely around eating, Gauche, a deeply intense narcissist obsessed with his little sister, and Vanessa, a ridiculously powerful witch who drinks way more wine than water. It's a bizarre, wild environment for sure, but beneath all that surface chaos, it's actually a deeply endearing found family.
And then, the universe's rules flip once again with Noelle Silva. She is a noble royal, born into immense privilege and absolutely overflowing with mana. But there's a huge catch. She completely lacks the ability to control it. Because of this, her own royal family treats her as a complete failure. It really just goes to show that the pressure of this magic-obsessed society crushes everyone, completely regardless of their social class.
But Asta? He doesn't see a failure when he looks at Noelle, he sees an equal. During their first real mission to protect a remote village from bandits, Asta's anti-magic is what keeps them in the fight. But honestly, it's his encouragement that really changes things. He reminds a panicking Noelle that she isn't alone out there. Empowered by his belief in her, she finally finds her pride and unlocks this massive protective spell called the Sea Dragon's Cradle, completely saving the villagers. It is a massive, massive victory for the Misfits.
Section 5. The First Major Trial. As Asta and the Black Bulls begin to finally prove their worth, they're assigned to explore a dangerous, ancient dungeon right near the border of the Clover Kingdom. And here, their paths cross again with Yuno and the Golden Dawn. Now, the dungeon is filled with ancient traps, but the real threat is a collision with a young soldier named Mars from the rival Diamond Kingdom. Mars isn't just a mage, he is a warrior who has been brutally modified through agonizing experiments, basically turning him into a living weapon who wields absolutely overwhelming crystal magic.
Mars pushes both squads to their absolute breaking points. It's this beautifully high-octane battle where the two childhood rivals finally get to fight side by side. Asta charges the front line, slicing through deadly crystal spells with his heavy anti-magic sword, opening up clear lanes for Yuno to unleash these devastating wind spirit attacks from the rear. Their contrasting powers, one completely devoid of magic, the other magically overflowing, work together in perfect, flawless harmony to defeat Mars and secure the dungeon's treasure. But, just as the dust settles, the story drops a tantalizing hint about a looming storm. Rumors are starting to spread across the kingdom of a mysterious, shadowy organization known as the Eye of the Midnight Sun. They're out there stealing ancient magic stones and attacking villages. While our heroes are busy celebrating their dungeon victory, they have absolutely no idea of the ancient grudge and massive scale of the threat waiting for them in the shadows. So, the crucial point to take away from this first act is this incredible evolution. Think about it. Asta started as a screaming, magicless orphan that society literally laughed at. But through sheer grit, unshakable belief, and a total refusal to stay down, he transformed into the legendary anti-magic knight. He became a living, breathing symbol that hard work can cut through even the most deeply entrenched, unfair systems.
Which leaves us with this final thought. If an anomaly born with absolutely zero magic can rise up, change his destiny, and stand shoulder to shoulder with prodigies, what perceived limits are holding you back in your own life? It's a fascinating question to ponder, right? Thank you so much for joining me as we unpacked this phenomenal story. And hey, keep looking for ways to surpass your own limits.